So I just got back from the dentist and I had to get a filling, and I think I'm moving okay. I think all my movement's back, even if all my feeling isn't, but if something's looking weird, like over here, that's what's happening. So today I have swatches of the Zero Lacquer Summer Collection for 2019. Zero is my own brand that I do make and sell and do all that stuff myself. So I have neon creams for the summer. This is something that I have had multiple requests to make since I made these smoothie bar polishes, which were like neon crelly bases with black shredded glitter. I've had so many emails and questions about making the base colors without the glitter, which wasn't as simple as just taking the glitter out, because the bases don't really perform well on their own. So there's a little bit of tweaking here. There's a couple of colors that aren't the exact same shade as the smoothie bar bases, mainly this pink and orange. And these are a giant pain in the butt to make. Pigment specks. Pigment specks are like my worst nightmare, but I think I have eliminated 99% of them with lots and lots of filtering and straining and time. So 6 of these neons, and then also for the 4th of July I have a little patriotic trio that's coming out. So there's going to be 2 new polishes for that, a crelly and a topper, and then re-releasing Patriot, which if you're familiar with twinkle lights, holographic base with like semi-transparent red and blue glitter. It's like the patriotic version of twinkle lights. So 9 polishes being released all together on June 7th. Is that Friday? June 7th at 11 a.m. Eastern time. So I will link the website down below so you guys can check those out. I normally like to have everything listed on the website before I post the video, but today's kind of crazy, so I'm not exactly sure if they will be on the website by the time the video goes up. Probably, maybe not. So anyway, 9 polishes here all together to show you, and I will get into the swatches. So the first polish is called Firefly, and this is a kind of pastel neon yellow cream. So here is 1 coat. This one is a little bit streaky on that first coat. This is going to need 3. I know some people might not love that idea, but with these kind of polishes, I find the more opaque you try to make them, the thicker they get. And since polishes get thicker as they go along, I thought it might be better to need 3 coats than to have it need 1 or 2 and be thicker and continue to get thicker as it gets older, if that makes sense. That was my thought process here. So you can see this one dried a little bit more sheer than it was when it was wet. So here is the second coat. And it also dries pretty much matte. I wouldn't say fully matte, but it's pretty close. So you're definitely going to want top coat. And still a few darker spots where it's not fully even yet. That's where that 3rd coat comes in. So this one does cover completely on that 3rd coat. Again, it does dry dull, so you are going to want top coat to give it that shine. So that is 3 coats of Firefly. The next polish is a kind of pastel neon green, and this is called Bullfrog. So like the last one, this one is a little bit streaky on that first coat. It does level itself out pretty nicely, though. You can see some of those streaks kind of just squish into each other. I don't like to comment too much on the formulas on these, but I think they're pretty good. So here is 2 coats. I think you might be able to get away with 2 with this one, but more likely you're going to need 3, just like with the yellow. It also dries dull, so you will want top coat. I'll let it dry completely and see how it dries before I decide whether I'm doing 2 or 3 today, but I did do 3 for my pictures. So this is actually working really well for me in 2 today. Like I said before, I did do 3 coats in my pictures, but I think I'm good in 2 right now, but it's really close. So you might end up needing 3 just depending on your application. So that is 2 coats of Bullfrog. Okay, I took everything way down to try to get an accurate color of this and the next polish because they're both like orange and pink and those tend to throw things off. This polish is named after what my niece used to call flamingos when she was a toddler, which was a very long time ago because she's going to be like 21 this year. But this is Flaming-Mamingo, and this is a slightly corally neon pink. It's not the same base color as watermelon juice from the smoothie bar collection. It's a different shade of pink. It leans, like I said, a little bit more coral. So here is 1 coat. Little bit streaky on that first coat, but since the colors are getting darker than the yellow and the green were, they're going to start covering a little bit better. That looks really, really dark on my viewfinder. I hope it's not that dark when it gets onto the computer. But the color looks good. And again, I think the formula is pretty good. Probably only going to need 2 coats of this one. I don't think I've needed 3 at all. So this one dried just a little bit more streaky than it was when it's wet, but the second coat is still going to cover it completely. Like the other ones, this does dry a little bit dull, so you will want top coat. So that is 2 coats of Flaming-Mamingo. The next polish is called Humidity, and this is the orange. This is also a different shade of orange than Mango Sunrise from the Smoothie Bar collection. This one leans, where the pink leans a little bit like orange and has a little bit of coral, the orange leads a little bit more pink. So here are the 2 next to each other so you can see the difference. And this one, like all the other ones, is a little bit more of a pastel neon kind of shade. A little bit streaky on that first coat. Should be fine in 2 though, again, because it's a little bit deeper of a color than a bright yellow or a bright green. I almost said orange again. And I think the formulas are good. So like all the other ones, this one dries dull and a little bit more sheer once it's fully dry. It is looking pretty good in 2 coats, but I think I'm going to let it fully dry first. And it does look like it's going to cover completely in 2. I haven't needed 3 for this one through any of my testing or swatch pictures or anything. So that is 2 coats of Humidity. So the next polish is called Ultraviolet, and this is the purple kind of pastel neon. I will say it's neon pigment, like it's labeled as a neon pigment, but I never find that the blues and purples in these neon collections ever really look that neon. It's just like a light purple and a light blue. So this one covers pretty well on that first coat. Not a lot of streaks there at all. A little bit though. There's a few spots that are lighter, so it still needs 2 coats. And really sorry if you can hear the faint, horrible sound of my water softener. And a good formula on this one as well. I just hit like every button on it to make it stop, and nothing's happening. Before I move on to my next coat on this one, I wanted to talk about something. Pigment specs. I kind of wish I had never done a swatch video and made a big deal out of pigment specs in an indie polish, because I really didn't understand how difficult they are to avoid. So I have one on my pointer finger. I'm going to try to center it in that glare, like it's centered in that little light spot there, so you can see what we're talking about, like size-wise. I've filtered all of these through these really, really fine mesh strainers that are made for auto paint, and I've filtered all of them 3 times. So each batch gets filtered 3 times. So anything that's left is very, very, very small, and it's just what can squeeze through that 190 micron mesh strainer. Obviously, having any in here is not ideal, but I didn't think that one spec this size in all of these polishes, granted I haven't done the blue yet, was worth scrapping in the entire collection. So you might not agree with that, but full disclosure, it is possible you're going to come across something about this size in the polishes, because it's what can fit through the smallest strainer that I could find. I don't think it's that big of a deal, but you might disagree with me, so I figured you should know about it anyway. So here is 2 coats. This was pretty opaque on the first one, but I did have a couple of light spots that I wanted to cover up. And you can see it does dry matte, so you will definitely want top coat to smooth that out. To add the shine back. I'm just on autopilot at this point. So that is 2 coats of Ultraviolet. And the last polish for the neons is called Clear Skies, and this is technically using a neon pigment, so it's a neon blue, but it's just like a nice sky blue shade. So this one also covers pretty well on that first coat. I'm anticipating there will be a couple of light spots. I'm still going to need 2. And this one is also going to dry matte. And again, I think the formula is pretty good. So this one does cover completely in 2 coats. Those lighter spots that I had were a little bit more obvious once it had fully dried. So as much as I would like to be able to say it's a 1-coater, it's not. And again, you will want top coat because it is going to dry dull. So that is 2 coats of Clear Skies. So the last polishes that I have to show you are some red, white, and blue, red, blue, and silver 4th of July patriotic trio here. So the first polish is not new. This is Patriot. This is like a red and blue version of Twinkle Lights, so it has a holographic base and these little semi-transparent red and blue glitters. This was released a couple of years ago, 4th of July time, but I don't think I ever put it on YouTube because it was just like a single one polish release. So if you missed it then, now it's available. So this is a little sheer on that first coat. You do get a decent amount of glitter out. And again, I think the formula is pretty good. This is most likely going to need 3 coats. So this one does start to build up pretty well in 2 coats. Does have a lot of glitter there. I think I'm seeing some nail line. I'm going to look closer, but I would assume there's going to be a little bit of nail line there still. Yes, there is nail line. Honestly, I would probably just wear this in 2 because between the holographic and the glitter, it's pretty hard to pick out. But it is just enough that I think 3 is justifiable, so I'm going to do 3 coats. And this is glitter in here, so it is going to dry a little bit textured, so you're going to want top coat to smooth it out, and it is going to stick to the nail a little bit when you remove it. So here is 3 coats. So the silver base actually builds up a little bit more on that 3rd coat. And the nail line is mostly covered up. I feel like if you look very, very closely, you could probably still see some, but between glitter and holographic, you really have to look for it. So that is 3 coats of Patriot. The next polish is USA, and this is a white curly base with little tiny red and blue glitters. So the base on this one is a bit sheer on that first coat. I always like to do 3 coats with these curlies. It's more of a personal preference thing. I just like to get that base as white as possible, but you'll see it looks decent in 2. It just depends on what kind of look you're going for. Okay, so here is 2 coats. So you can see that base starts to build up and you do get a decent amount of glitter, but it has more of a, I don't know how to say it, like milky look to it. It doesn't look super, super white, which is what I like with curlies. So I'm going to do a 3rd coat just to build that base up a little bit more. And this is glitter, so it is going to be textured and it is going to be more difficult to remove. So this does cover completely in 3 coats. I mean, it covers, I'll say pretty much completely in 2, but you can see how much whiter the base is in 3. And I really hope you can't hear my stomach because it's been out of control for the last 2 swatches. So that is 3 coats of USA. And the last polish is called Fireworks, and this is a red, blue, and silver glitter topper with some stars added in. And I wanted to put this over a light blue, and I think the blue that I grabbed is like not as pale blue as I was picturing, but this, I haven't done the swatch picture for this, so it might be over a different color, but this color is an Essie Gel Couture polish called Dimensions. So here is the topper over the blue. I'm doing a little bit of, not like full-on glitter placement, but I am kind of like dabbing a bit more on the corners, or on the edges rather. Because when glitter toppers are applied to polishes, sometimes they can kind of stick to the polish towards the cuticle line and then spread out less as you apply. I actually didn't have to do that with this nail. It's just kind of an application technique. I forgot to mention, which is so funny because I made this, so you'd think I would know everything that's in it, but there are some little holographic flakes in there as well. This is definitely going to be more difficult to remove because it is glitter, and you are going to want to use a good top coat to smooth everything out so it doesn't feel chunky and it doesn't look textured. So that is 1 coat of Fireworks. So, I know I wanted to talk about the whole pigment spec thing a little bit, which I already kind of talked about in the video, but what you saw there was the only thing that I came across in all of the swatches for these polishes, so I think we're good. I know that some people might not love the idea of there being anything in there, but some of them are just too small to get out. They're just too small to be able to filter out. And that's kind of the nature of handmade polishes. So I really want to kick my past self for ever complaining about those because I really didn't realize like how difficult it is to deal with them. And I certainly didn't think that scrapping the entire collection for like 1 speck was worth it, especially when they are very small because they have gone through a filtering process. So, making excuses. So I don't generally pick favorites for these videos either. I just kind of go along with the release information. So everything that you saw in the video today will be releasing on June 7th at 11 a.m. Eastern Time. If they sell out, don't freak out. I'll be continuing to restock as often as I can, as long as I can. So that is the 9-0 Summer 2019 and Little 4th of July trio. So I will link the website down below so you guys can check those out. Hope you enjoyed this one, and I will talk to you later. Bye.